my crew, we're jammed to abandoned buildings. Sees an empty cup, we fill 'em. I keep my circle tight, vibe just right with my six string singing all night. Gender, faith, color, or lover, don't matter one way or other. No complaints from music's after. Thanking God for that news, dad is a doctor. My crew doesn't quit.
Welcome everyone to the Eve Growing Concepts. Today's video we're going to talk about DUFF, D-U-F-F, Detritus Under Forest Floor, right? I always screw that word up, Detritus.
Detritus, detritus, detritus.
I don't even know if I'm saying it right there. For some reason that word throws me off. But I want to talk about how I started. When I first started going the soil-based route, you know, as many of you know, I was fascinated with soilless growing way back when, making all kinds of different contraptions, and I found out that growing with soil can do the same things that soilless growing can do. The hydroponics and aeroponics growing with soil can do the same thing, only better. Better on so many levels. Better for the planet, less chance for failure, no irrigation lost. We're making compost. We're not tied into some corporate entity for our growing nutrients or our growing supplies, because as you can see by these towers, this is all stuff you find all day long in urban settings. So when I first started out, in our town we have a leaf service that they pick up all our leaves, they bring it to our town municipal, and they turn it into compost, right? But I heard with this compost, the problem with it is everybody puts their stuff. So there's grass clippings that some people might use pesticides. I know in my neighborhood I see those people that just don't know any better. Ignorance is probably the best thing to say for them, because they really don't. They'd rather have their grass, and they hire somebody to come and put this pesticides all over their grass. So that's mixed into this compost, and I was kind of bummed about that. So I got to thinking about it, and how am I going to get, this is before I was doing my CBCB. I was composting before a little bit, but not quite to the degree of a carbon-based composting bin or my CBCB composting method, which I'll put some links down below. Very important how you can make your own
Detritus
under forest floor, or your own DUFF, if you will. So so the municipal compost was not that great. So then I thought, well, you know, I have a park right in back of me, right? This awesome park where the town, they just pile some leaves. For many years they piled leaves. So what I would do to get some more soil base, which that's what we're talking about when we're talking about DUFF. DUFF is the soil base, and the castings, worm castings, is our soil amendment. And then of course I've added some lime, and you know, I'm always trying to think of how else I can make my soil richer. So I'd go to this leaf pile in the back of my yard, at the park and back of my yard, and I'd go to the bottom and I'd find that rich DUFF that's underneath there. Now this is the stuff, when you're doing container gardening, this is what you want to get. This is the stuff you'll find at the box store. And if all else fails, and you're living in the city, and you don't have a leaf pile you can go to, that's where you go to get your soil base, to the box stores. Find a good rich composted soil, and that's how you can start with your first tower. You know, you start with one tower, then go to the next. Like right now I have towers all over my yard. My dog's trashing over there, digging a hole. All it takes is one toad and she'll trash my whole garden, that dog of mine. But so yeah, you dig under the leaves, get that, if you know where a leaf pile nearby, and or of course you go to my CBCB playlist that I have, and it talks all about how I turn my minced leaves, my carbon, this brown material, the dry brown material, is how I turn that into awesome soil base, or DUFF. You know, I say all the time, my fall leaves become my next year's soil base. It's not quite finished yet, but it's enough to put it in the tower. Like this tower of kale was literally, the compost wasn't quite finished yet, but I put it in here anyway, and I added some worm castings together with it. And now when I empty this, and we'll do a video on how, when I take this particular one apart, this particular tower, when I take it apart, we'll show you what it looks like. I'll show you how I packed it, if I haven't already. I know one of them, this tower over here, I know I showed you how I packed it. I got a video, a quick snapshot of that. So we can do this, folks. And as I've said many times in my videos, all this organic so-called waste that's coming to us in the form of organics, again, cardboard, newspaper, paper bags, anything that is organic, we can turn it into soil and we can grow food for ourselves, family, and neighbors and friends, right? So we have to start doing this. This is how we're going to stop the world from heating up, by stopping these big heavy trucks coming to pick up all this organic waste. Don't rely on the sanitation department to do what's right. Okay, they make their living off of heavy weight, so they're not about to stop us from throwing away rich biodiversity that is, again, lost from our commercial farmlands, coming to us in the form of all this gross organics. And I've showed in videos, I'll put the playlist down below, how I handle our gross food waste through using the angels of the soil, the red wiggler, and all this outside, whatever you see that's green all around us ends up in soil. We've got a closed loop system here at Eve Growing. We've closed the loop, and that's what you need to do. You need to close the loop. If you're thinking of how can we get out of this mess, I want to tell you something about urban farming. Technological unemployment is real. We're going to be losing our jobs left and right. We're going to be needing to pick up these jobs. No doubt that the urban farmer will be picking up these jobs, and it will be so much more beneficial towards the planet and the collective whole as urban farmers than some financial genius moving imaginary numbers, or some lawyer who speaks the language of the state that we'll never be able to figure out. We can do it ourselves. We can, by taking care of our organics. So DUFF
Detritus.
Detritus Under Forest Floor. Learn how to make it. All this cardboard newspaper I like to call PUD. PUD, Potential Urban Duff. Newspaper, cardboard, paper bags, that's PUD. Potential Urban Duff, and duff is the stuff you get from all this carbon. All this greenery out here is going to go brown. I'm going to mince it up and I'm going to put it into my CBCB, and that's closing the loop. So I hope this makes sense. Mother Nature's got us covered. All the time she's got us covered. So do not panic. Learn to make soil as if your life depends on it, because in all reality it does. And when you learn how to make soil, you're going to get yourself a green thumb. The red wiggler will give you a green thumb every time. That is a great soil amendment that you don't have to buy. You learn how to make it. Get these angels of the soil called the red wiggler. Learn how to master them, whether it's through Vernmenting, my system that I use, or there's so many different other ways you can manipulate these sacred creatures to break down your organics depending on where you live, what your individual situation is. So last thing I want to say is, if you're not a part of our Facebook groups, we got like 4 of them now. We got the Ultimate Worm Farming collaboration group. I'll put the links below. That's Stacy T. I'm working with her, and we also have the Eve Growing. We have my CBC Facebook group, and we have Vernmenting group. These CBC and the Vernmenting group are dedicated to that particular thought, open sourcing that idea. So if you're doing some of this stuff, if you're doing Vernmenting, if you're doing the CBC, come join and share your information there on my Facebook groups. And last but not least, we're going to start opening up our Clubhouse, so we can get Clubhouse as an audio app where we communicate in real time. And we'll talk all about vertical growing using soil and how we can break down our organics. So much we're talking about there. So I hope everybody's doing well. That's all I have to say for now. God bless. Over and out.
We will heal this planet, one urban farmer at a time.